Sabri Subi is a businessman who knows all about taking risks. He's the founder of King Kong, now a thriving marketing agency. He's here to meet James at his Melbourne cafe. His business is thriving, but now James wants to focus on his other passion, hot sauce.
So James, tell me a little bit about your side hustle and what you've created.
So basically we've created a product that's quite unique, not really on the shelves here in Melbourne or Australia. It's essentially a Chilean sauce, which was developed through Carolina. She's basically the one behind the recipe, and we've developed that about 3 years ago.
James's friend Carolina had the recipe handed down from her grandmother, and James thinks the product has some serious potential.
I just saw that it was a great tasting product. The branding in itself is fantastic, and I just thought with my business knowledge, being in business for 5 years so far with the cafe scene, it'd be a solid challenge to try and really push this company into a proper, bigger business.
So do you want to hire a general manager to kind of manage the day-to-day of these cafes so you can focus on the sauce business?
For sure. So at the moment, we're in the process of hiring a general manager for one of the cafes. That way, for sure, I can then remove myself a little bit and just work between the two businesses, the hot sauce one being moving that forward and growing that into a bigger business.
So how much business experience do you and your business partners have altogether?
I've been in business for 5 years as of 21, managing and running a couple of venues in hospitality. When it comes to Joel and Carolina, they've essentially built the business to where it currently stands, developing the recipe, finding distribution companies, and also all the social media that goes with that. But I guess that's just the next phase. How do we turn this from a side hustle into a flourishing business?
The main thing that's going to determine how big you can grow this is what the demand is like and how do you effectively sell this product. So the big thing, you mentioned that you're in 40 kind of retailers right now, and I imagine the challenge with that is you need to basically be getting people coming in and buying it so they actually repurchase the product. So the way that I would attack it is I would go for a three-pronged strategy. And the first one would be, I would get your product into the hand of a lot of food influencers on Instagram. So I would compile a list of say the top 200 food influencers on Instagram, and I would start to send them out my product for free. They might have 50, 100, 200,000 followers, and then those people will be like, yeah, let me try it. They'll go to your website, they'll either buy it directly or they'll go into those retailers and be like, do you have this product? That's gonna get them going, yeah, this is a great product, let me keep repurchasing it because people want it. Then the second thing that I would do is I would look at, say, what are some other products that operate in similar categories to you that are niche gourmet products, whether it's sauces or dips, and on their websites, they typically have a list of all of their retailers and their distributors. Then I would use a website like freelancer.com, and I would get someone overseas to compile a list of all of those stores and all of their contact details. And I would start to email those people out saying, hey, we noticed that you stock this product. We would love to have the opportunity to stock our product in your shop. I'd love to send you out a free jar. And I think that if you did that, you'd probably grow from having 40 retailers, maybe to 150 to 200 in a 12-month time period. And I would be really using that to kind of fund me having to send out this jar of product, or probably the product, it retails at $9.99,
sure, yeah.
And you guys you're wholesaling that at $6.40. So I think that if you look at that $6.40 plus with the postage cost, it might cost you about $10 to send it out to an influencer, and you'd be using all the orders that you're getting for your distributors and your retailers to fund sending it out to maybe 5 or 10 influencers every single day. And that will be a flywheel. That will be a little feedback loop that kind of fuels the growth of your business. Because if you're getting, 1, a lot of demand for your product, and 2, you've got a really good distribution network, they're really the recipes for kind of a thriving business.
Sounds like that could be a recipe for success. Coming up, the hot sauce is just the beginning. James has some other products up his sleeve and ready for launch.
With our current foundations, what other steps can we be doing to turning this into a thriving business?
Sure, so you mentioned that you've got, one other kind of product that's in the line that you're looking to launch. You've got this main product that you're pushing right now. I think what you really want to do is just double down on selling this thing as aggressively as you possibly can. You've got a recipe that people love. You just need to get it into the hands of as many people as you possibly can. I wouldn't really keep on trying to launch multiple products because that complicates things. The more products that you have, you know, the harder distribution is, the more storage, the more wastage. There's a lot of things to factor in. I think what you really want to do is just laser in on what is the most effective way to possibly sell this thing as you can. Build that revenue base up to as high as you can, and then you can hire other people to come into the business, chefs that can help with the recipes, help launch new products, and you guys just really kind of dial into your business model, the way that you sell and the way that you get this into the hands of as many people as possible.
What are the common mistakes that people make turning a side hustle into a bigger business?
The number one thing that I see is that they focus all of their time on developing the perfect product, right? They sit away, they toil away, they spend a year, 2 years, and an enormous amount of money in developing what they believe is the perfect product. And they give little to no thought of how do we actually effectively sell this. 80 to 90% of your time needs to be focused on revenue producing activities that is going to either, one, be growing your distribution channel throughout all your retailers, or two, focusing on building the demand for this product.
So what else should we be doing besides Instagram and Facebook and so forth in regards to growing the business?
You always really want to think about, like, where are your customers? So, like, what are the channels or mediums that actually exist out there that your dream buyers, the real big foodies, like, where are they? Where are they congregating online? And obviously a very great publication in Australia for that would be Broadsheet. They've got hundreds of thousands of people on their database, on their Facebook pages, and broken down into individual cities. I would look at trying to get a feature on there or paying for an advertorial on there about, you know, this Chilean hot sauce that Aussies are just going absolutely crazy about, and getting a nice write-up there. And I would look in at feeding, you know, the background story of the person that actually developed this sauce. You know, you were mentioning that she's from Chile. That recipe came from her grandma, and telling that story about how they brought the sauce to Australia and everyone was raving about it and talking about it, and really start to inject some storytelling into the brand and use a medium like Broadsheet that would get hundreds of thousands, if not millions of eyeballs on your product, conveying your brand story. And again, that's going to really fuel the demand throughout your distribution network.
So how did you manage to turn your side hustle into a thriving business?
I had to kind of go all in my business. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 21. I've started multiple business. I've, you know, run and sold some of those. I've run some of them into the ground, and others have been wildly successful. When I was at a point where I was starting my current business, King Kong, I had recently gotten married and I just funded my wedding, and I'd kind of said, now is the time to actually get serious in my business. And I never forget, I wrote it in on the calendar. I was like, on the 14th of March, I'm going to start my business. And I really just went all in from that time.
So James seems to be on the right track. Sabri suggests focusing on selling one product at a time and as aggressively as possible. James should dedicate most of his time on revenue-producing activities. It's all about the big sell and building demand. And he should also think about where his dream customers are hanging out and hit those social media platforms with an advertising spend.